standpoint, they by far have the most talent. From a chemistry standpoint, they are as toxic of a combination of players on a team as you will ever find anywhere. I mean, you already got DeMarcus Cousins, and then you're combining Rajon Rondo. Like, good Lord, that thing is going to explode. But it could explode like in a crazy, awesome, we're kicking people's butts way. There is that chance because of the amount of talent. But so I have them third, strictly based off of potential. I think in all likelihood the Suns will finish in third. But if the Kings can play up to their talent, they will finish in third and contend for the 8th and final wild card spot. But so we've got Warriors 1, Clippers 2, Kings 3, Suns 4, and the Lakers in dead last in the Pacific Division. You can lock that in. Lakers will not finish better than last in the Pacific Division. Moving on to the Northwest Division, which has my and maybe your Minnesota Timberwolves in it. Only one guaranteed playoff team, and that will be the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is by far the worst division of the West. The Trailblazers likely finish in second, contending for that 8th wild card, or that 8th playoff spot, followed by the T-Wolves in third. That's right, the T-Wolves will win somewhere between 28 and 40 games this year. Good enough for third spot and maybe a slight flirting with the 8th seed at some point in the season. I believe the Jazz will finish in 4th place, and the Nuggets will certainly be in dead last of the Northwest unless the Blazers just completely fall apart. They could go from second to last with all the pieces they lost. Like I said, Northwest by far weakest division in the West. That's good news for the T-Wolves. And then we move on to the Southwest Division in the Western Conference of the NBA. By far the power division in this conference. And do not be surprised if all 5, that's right, if all 5 of these teams make the playoffs. And you know what? That is the official prediction. I'm going to cross out the question marks by the couple question marks. I have Kings, Suns, Blazers, T-Wolves, Jazz, all, flirting with that 8 seed, but not much of a chance. In the Southwest, all 5 teams make the playoffs. The Spurs will win that division, and they will be the 1 seed in the playoffs. The Grizzlies will be second in that division, followed by the Rockets, followed by the Mavs, who are improved with Darren Williams now at point guard, and the Pelicans, who are still a team on the rise, new head coach, continuing to grow and develop, greatest player on the planet, not named LeBron James, that being Anthony Davis. So I think Pelicans finishing last in the Southwest, 5th, dead last in the Southwest Division, will be a playoff team. So our 1 seed, our playoff teams in the West will be as follows: Spurs the 1 seed, Warriors the 2 seed, Clippers the 3 seed, OKC the 4 seed, Grizzlies at 5, Rockets at 6, Mavs at 7, and then the Pelicans holding off Blazers, T-Wolves, Jazz, Kings, and Suns for the 8th spot in the West. All right, then let's get to the East quick. Move on. We're at to get the show done here. Jeez Louise. Scotty Ball running overtime. We'll start with the garbage division in all of basketball, let alone the Eastern Conference, and that would be the Atlantic Division. If no teams from this conference, or if no teams from this division could make the playoffs, if that was possible, no teams from this division would make the playoffs. But anyway, the Raptors are going to win that division, followed by potential 8 seed Boston Celtics and New Jersey Nets, or Brooklyn Nets, whatever the hell they're called now. And then vying for last place and the number 1 overall pick in next year's draft will be the New York Knicks and the 76ers. I have the 76ers being the worst team in all of basketball. Actually, no, the Orlando Magic will be the worst team in all of basketball, followed by the Sixers, Pistons, and Knicks, Nuggets, and Lakers in that order. Then the Central, we've got the Cavs in first, winning that, obviously, followed by the Bulls, followed by the Bucks, followed by the Pacers, and Pistons will be dead last in that division. And then in the Southeast, you've got the Heat, definitely the best team in the Southeast, a little bit over the Wizards in second place, surprising some, and the Hawks falling to third in that division. And then you've got the Hornets in fourth, and the Magic dead last, worst team in all of basketball. So your playoff teams in the East will be as follows: Cavs will be the 1 seed, Heat will be the 2 seed, 3 seed is the Bulls, 4 seed is the Wiz, 5 seed is the Hawks, 6th seed is the Raptors. Let's see, so that would go... That's where we're supposed to go there. 3 and... Or no, that was right. Yeah, that was right. Yep, so we got the Bulls at 4, the Hawks at 5, the Raptors at 6, the Bucks, the Milwaukee Bucks at 7, and then fighting for that 8th and final playoff spot will likely be the Pacers, the Celtics, or the Nets. Let's go with the Celtics. Just, why not? Okay, so then you're going to have the Cavs moving on to the finals. They will take on the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Spurs will take on Golden State in the Western Conference Finals. It will be the Cleveland Cavaliers hosting the Spurs via better regular season record in the finals. However, the Spurs will win it all, and they will do that in Game 6 in San Antonio. Your regular season awards, look for, Sixth Man of the Year, look for Tristan Thompson in Cleveland, Andre Iguodala in Golden State, Jamal Crawford for the Clippers, Kmart possibly for the T-Wolves, and Corey Brewer for Houston. That's by far the toughest award to predict. Defensive Player of the Year is going to go to Anthony Davis. He should have got it last year. Kawhi Leonard, last year's winner, will be up for it again. You also got Al Horford, Joakim Noah, Hassan Whiteside, Andre Drummond, Greg Monroe, maybe Danny Green and Serge Ibaka, but I definitely think Defensive Player of the Year is going to a big man for sure this year, as you can tell by all the names on my list. Rookie of the Year, I believe Jahlil Okafor, the only real good thing on the 76ers, will end up winning that award. Good individual numbers on a crappy team. D'Angelo Russell on the Lakers will also have that opportunity. However, I don't know if he'll be able to stay healthy, and I don't know what kind of, I don't know how the dynamics are going to work with him and Kobe. And then Towns would be your, more solid numbers, consistent on a decent, team, at least as far as the ones we're discussing here. And then your outside shots would be Emmanuel Mudiay, Miles Turner, and Devin Booker would be your 3 dark horses for Rookie of the Year. But definitely expect Okafor, Russell, or Towns to win that. And then your MVP candidates in reverse order are Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant, Jimmy Butler, LaMarcus Aldridge, Damian Lillard, John Wall is a top 5, CP3, John Wall is a top 5 candidate, James Harden, Steph Curry, and the winner will be either LeBron James or Anthony Davis. Let's go with LeBron. All right. There, boom. That's like all the basketball I can do. Balls dribbling, the name of our new basketball segment. Or no, Balls Dribble. That's right. So that ends the debut segment of Balls Dribble. And yes, we need to end the show. It's going to be 2.5 hours. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, follow the show on Twitter, for crying out loud, at BDST Show. Like and friend me on Facebook. Search Scotty-Ball. We're here every Wednesday and Saturday on WNLMradio.com, as well as on demand 24/7. Spreaker app, TuneIn app, SoundCloud, and YouTube. All right, so we close the show out with Ball's Deep Thought of the Day, as we do every week, and it is coming off of the basketball topic, the basketball thought. And this is my other, as promised, controversial. You are not going to like this. People are going to hate this and disagree with me, but it's honest, and I think I'm right, and so I'm gonna share it with you. Ball's Deep Thought of the Day is this. I'm gonna give it to you with a profound statement. Michael Jordan, the greatest player in the history of basketball, and arguably the greatest athlete in the history of professional sports. That's a different argument for a different day. But unquestionably the greatest professional basketball player to ever live. Michael Jordan ruined the sport of basketball. Yeah, Michael Jordan ruined the game of basketball. We are just now flirting with, last season I commented on this a lot. So last season, this season, we are just now historically getting at a point where we are flirting with getting past and overcoming Michael Jordan ruining the game and the sport of basketball for everyone. How can you possibly say that the greatest player of ever ruined the game? Because he did. His impact on the game was more profound than any we've ever seen in the world of sports. He was everywhere. He was as famous as a human being can be for doing anything. And how did he accomplish that? By being a one-man team that was a highlight reel. He would make bad decisions. He would get burnt. But he would light up highlight reels. When he was successful, he would do it with a flair and a style in a way that you'd go, oh my gosh, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then eventually he was able to win and win and win and win and win and win with that style. And he got all the glory, all the credit. Yeah, you'd get a little Scottie Pippen, a little Phil Jackson, a little triangle offense. You get a little bit of this and that. But for the most part, everything was viewed as he's a one-man team, and he's the best to ever do it, and they're the best team ever, and that's why this is all happening. And so you had an entire generation of youth and future basketball players that were being brainwashed, literally brainwashed to tailor their games after that. And that's how you're supposed to play. Like Mike. If I could be like Mike, I want to be like Mike. There was literally force-fed propaganda to the American culture that this is the way to do it. This is the right way to play the game. And while Michael Jordan played the game for all the right reasons, he did not always play the game the right way. Not even remotely close. The two faces of the era before him, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, they did. They were consummate team players. They would get on highlight reels, but it wasn't unnecessary highlights. They were making moves because it had to be done to get this amazing playoff. They were always making the right basketball decision, always including their teammates, achieving team success, preaching team. And then Michael Jordan came along and ruined all of that. And so since then, we have been suffering through terrible basketball up until just, a year or two ago, where we are finally seeing, that negative aftermath of this entire generation thinking that I just need to have the most skills and be the flashiest player ever and do it all myself so I can get all the credit and all the money and all the glory. We're finally getting past that, where we've got some semblance of team players and team basketball and team accomplishment and team glory and individuals that are developing skills with team-based applications and success in mind, as opposed to an entire era's worth of youth that became basketball players that cared nothing at all about true greatness, but cared about how much money they could make, how many different shoe lines they had out, how cool their shoes looked, how famous they were, how many Twitter followers they got, all this crap, how many points they end up with in the box score. Not greatness, not true success, not wins, not a team. And so that is the decade plus lasting impact and negative effect that we have all been suffering as a result of one Mr. Michael Jordan, who ruined the game of basketball. Hopefully not forever. There are signs out there that it is not, that it's fixable, that we can get back to the way it needs to be. But Michael Jordan ruined basketball for over a decade, and we are just now finally starting to come out of that and see the light. All right, so please tweet me how much you hate me and my comments and thoughts, or maybe you want to stand up for me and way to take a stand and be honest and deliver the unpopular opinion, Scotty Ball. If you want to do that. Twitter at BDST Show, Facebook Scotty Ball. Again, thanks for listening, as you hopefully do every week on demand on WNLMradio.com. However you listen, thanks for doing it and keep doing it. I'm Scotty Ball. Tune in next week. Same Balls Deep times, same Balls Deep channels. I am out of here. Peace.